We will write it and we will do it live.
We had no choice but to go on live. What the heck?
What a Friday. We're enjoying libations. We're watching some Big Ten basketball. And
I'm in the basement enjoying myself, watching my Northwestern Wildcats compete against the Wisconsin Badgers. And
when we're right, we're right.
Oh, but a notification.
When we're right, we're right. Hit up those comments. Yeah. Hit up those comments. Because we tried to tell you. We tried to tell you on, for those of you who didn't listen, we tried to let you know that this was a
first
very
of all,
real possibility.
No. I would say you let them know. I didn't think it was going to happen. Not like this anyway. And so I went on my guy Dame Shack's show yesterday. I didn't think that Kenny would get traded this year, but I didn't think he would play another down for the Steelers. I thought Russ would play well enough to get extended, but the fact that he just
hold on. Let's go ahead. For the people who don't know, this was Tuesday's show. Kenny Pickett is not the starter now. He's done. His time in Pittsburgh is over. He's going to be traded or something's going to happen there. Russell Wilson was not signed to come in and be a backup. He's going to be your starter. So I think it was a smart, safe, calculated move for the Steelers.
I mean, you were spot on. You were absolutely spot on.
I'm here for you. I am here for the Yinzers. Listen, as a Browns fan, if I know anything, it's what it looks like when you're parting ways with a quarterback. When your time is done with somebody that you drafted and put a lot of faith and stock into, I'm very familiar with this process and what it looks like. And again, we'll talk a lot of shit and what have you, but we started this at the end of the regular season. I mean, how many shows did you and I talk about Kenny and the Mason situation? I mean, I remember you specifically talking about it.
So, I mean, I get it. Like, I understand why they made the move, but I thought going to just from a number standpoint, the fact that we only have one quarterback on our roster and Russ Wilson right now, I thought this wouldn't happen. And if it did happen, it would happen at the end of this season. But I'm not mad at it. Kenny, good luck in Philly. I hope you resurrect your career. I hope you find something there. I have no ill will towards him, except for the fact that if the reports are true and he did not want to compete, there's nothing that drives me more crazy, that pisses me off more than somebody who doesn't want to compete against a guy coming off a bad year in Denver on a 1-year contract for peanuts, who, if he plays bad, if Russ has a bad year and he does what a lot of people out there think this was a bad signing, and he hits the bed, they're going to cut him. If the reports are true, he came in and he was like, hey, I don't want to be here anymore because you signed a 35-year-old to a $1.3 million contract that you can cut at any time. I don't want to compete with this guy in this new system. Then good riddance, Kenny. Good riddance. Because I'm all about competition. And I'm like, one of so many Tomlinisms out there. One of them, iron sharpens iron. He lives by that. And if Kenny went in there and showed him and told him that he did not want to compete, that's one of the things that will get you out of good favor with Tomlin quicker than anything else.
Listen, there's a saying, you don't want to be the guy to replace the guy, right? And Kenny was that guy replacing Ben. And it made it even harder that he went to Pitt. There's an emotional tie there. We talked about it with Belichick. We talked about it with Saban down in Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to be the guy to replace the guy. He wasn't done any favors. We talked ad nauseum about the offense. He wasn't done any favors. He wasn't done any favors by the offensive coaching staff or the organization. He was drafted too high. Let's just call it what it was. He should have never been that. 2 years later, you're being shipped to the side for a bag of peanuts. My guy Cisco in the comments, let's see some of these real quick. He wants to know what they're getting for Pickett. It's a pick swap, right?
Right.
Looks like mid-round picks. And so the Steelers are getting a couple picks mid to late rounds, and the Eagles get one pick and Pickett. And that's the part that's so – the Eagles just signed Marcus Mariota, didn't they?
No. Marcus was the backup last year. He's in Washington now. Yeah, they didn't have a
the
backup
Eagles sign
quarterback.
somebody?
They don't have.
They did not have a backup quarterback.
Right.
Okay.
So he's going to be the backup to a guy that just signed a big contract 2 years ago, and like Jalen Hurts is not going anywhere anytime soon. So he's going to a worse situation. But he had no control.
Well, it's not an offense. It's not an offense that fits his skill set either.
Right, and it's not a situation that he picked. Like, no pun intended. But like, once he declared that he didn't want to be in that locker room anymore, and I think, you know what I really think, if I had to speculate, I don't think it was a signing of Russell Wilson. I don't think it was necessarily how last year ended. I think it's all the love that Russell Wilson was getting from the locker room, all the love that he was getting from the vets like Cam Hayward, who made a point to reach out to Kenny Pickett, TJ Watt, who went and talked to Russell Wilson, welcomed him in, George Pickens, who welcomed him in with open arms from what I'm hearing. All the embrace that he was getting from the players on that roster, I feel like he thought he didn't have a place anymore. And he didn't want to go through the process of trying to reclaim his spot as the leader of that team. Because Russell Wilson, despite all the naysayers, all the folks that think this was a bad signing, he comes in with a resume, a very lengthy resume of good play, Super Bowl champion, a second Super Bowl appearance, and winning. He's won almost all of his career besides these last 2 years.
He's a pro. He's seen every defense that's been thrown at him. There's not going to be a lot of confusion there. He's just corny. He's just a different dude.
Dude, he's been doing a lot, but I appreciate his effort to ingratiate himself to Steeler Nation. And now
I appreciate it too, but I'm like, how did this guy land Sierra? Like, I mean, come on. How did this guy?
Dude, I mean, by all accounts, he's a good human being. He's a Christian. He's a father.
No,
I get it. I know what you mean. You know what I'm really wondering though, and this is, I want to ask the fans out there that are listening, and I hope some of the true Kenny Pickett fans are listening. Will you root for Russ's failure just to feel right about Kenny Pickett? If you are that fan that feels so strongly about Kenny Pickett that you choose him over the Steelers' success, I am done with you. I am done with you. Okay? Look, there's one thing. I get it. I get it.
I feel like I feel like Kermit right now. I'm sitting here sipping my tea.
Look, I'm on board. Like, there's so many decisions that the Steelers make that I don't necessarily agree with, but once they're made, you know me, I'm an optimist. I want them to succeed at all costs, even if I'm wrong. I'm okay being wrong if the Steelers are right. Like, I don't understand why you're a fan of a team and you attach yourself so strongly, like people have, to Kenny Pickett, that you would root for the Steelers' demise just to say, I was right about Kenny Pickett. So
Julie says she's really starting to enjoy this all season. It's just getting started. That's what's the crazy thing about it right now. The all season is just started. We got drafts up. There's still gonna be draft picks traded, like NFL wise. Like for the Steelers, yes, like it's been an exciting time. You sign Patrick Queen, you bring in Russell Wilson, you're shoring up some holes. So it's been a little bit wild for the Steelers already this offseason, but for the NFL as a whole, there's still a whole lot to go. I want to address this though, and I want to get your thoughts, because the natural obvious Steelers need a backup quarterback now, and the obvious suggestion now is going to be still bring in Justin Fields. I don't think that's a good idea. I still don't think that's a good idea, because Justin Fields would not and should not play enough this year for you to validate paying him the year after. He's going to have to get paid. So I don't think that you guys should go after Justin Fields now. You have to ride with Russell Wilson. And then
we need something. And Justin Fields seems like the logical choice now that we have a few more extra draft picks, because at this point, he's not going for more than a 5th or a 6th round pick. Especially,
no, I'm not talking about what you're giving up for him. I'm talking about he shouldn't play enough this year for you to validate. The reason you get Justin Fields is to have him sit behind Russell Wilson and groom him for the future. If Justin Fields plays this year, it's bad. That means Russell didn't work out. And in order to keep Justin Fields, you'd be kind of in the situation Tampa was in with Baker this year on really a 1-year deal, because then you're going to have to pay him the following season. You see what
So
I'm saying?
yeah,
Like
there's more. If you trade for Justin Fields, there's more of a commitment to see what he does after this year versus bringing in somebody like a Tannehill or I don't even know who's left now because
and if you're Fields, you're not taking a cheap deal to just be a backup in Pittsburgh right now. And I mean, he could go out to San Francisco and be a backup out there. There's a lot of places if you're Justin Fields that you can do that at. Real quick off the top of our head, what do we got? Anybody got any other suggestions in the comments? Hit us up. Tannehill is still available though, right?
Tannehill's available. I don't know any other quarterback that is out there that could be a viable backup. Yeah, Tannehill would be the obvious. But like I wouldn't be opposed to trading for Justin Fields. That 5th year option, like RWMK tier mentioned, is the issue. You have to pretty much commit to that 5th year when you bring him in. I'm guessing that. Oh yeah, my man, Josh Dobbs. That actually is a decent one. We could bring Dobbs in as a backup. That's actually a really good one. I forgot about him.
Good one.
Thank you, Steve Jones and Frigid Coma. But yes, that is actually a good one to bring in right now. And like CC Ryder said, I got my positive pants on. And Khan, we trust because he is doing things that this front office hasn't done in a very long time.
More like a Browns fan every day. I love it.
Dude, and so yeah, and I have faith that this they've identified the issues that we've come across this past season. They're tired of being mediocre. So we're going for broke, dude. Like we have cap space. We have a defense that's ready to win now. I'm
not sure what the
young pieces on
situation
offense
is
that you could build around. We have to just
Go
ahead.
What's the situation with because you're still built to win now, and that's the type of coach Tomlin is. But what about a guy like Carson Wentz? Is he available on the deal? Do you maybe kick the tires on bringing Carson Wentz in after a year with McVay?
I don't know, man. Carson Wentz just doesn't rub me the right way. Pause. But just
you need a longer pause than that for that one.
I'm not really feeling Wentz on this roster with the Russell Wilson. I don't know. Like, I think he's going to be retained in LA, especially with Stafford coming towards the end of his career and being injured. I don't know if that's a viable option. I really like the Joshua Dobbs idea.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's cheap. He'd be cheap. He's smart.
And like for 3 or 4 games, he's the most amazing quarterback in the NFL. For whatever team he plays for. If he has to play in the pitch, there's no better quarterback at all. And so
you guys have like a Google thing in Pittsburgh now. He can go work there, get his dollars up, work at Google, build some rocket ships.
Yeah, Pittsburgh is not a steel town anymore. We're an IT
do a little bit on the side.
We have moved to the future in Pittsburgh. And so,
man.
Dude.
What a good time, though. Now, do you draft a quarterback? Do you draft a quarterback later?
No, absolutely not in the first 3 rounds. I think we try to go for a steal in the 4th, 5th, or 6th round. See what Spencer Rattler can do. Like, he's such a enigma. He's played well. He's played horrible. Played in SEC. Gave Alabama a hard time, but has talent, has an arm. So a Spencer Rattler in the 4th or 5th round, I can see us doing. There's some other quarterbacks in later rounds that, wouldn't mind kicking the tires. We're definitely going to draft a young gun in the mid to later rounds. But this is such an interesting time to be a fan of the Steelers because we're in uncharted territory, man. We've signed a veteran quarterback, cut our rookie quarterback, our 1st-round rookie quarterback, traded our receiver that was a proven commodity at that, and decided to go with our 2nd year, or who will be our 3rd-year guy, as our number 1.
You still got to fix that, by the way. I'm not like you need somebody other than Pickens.
Oh yeah, we definitely got to draft a vet, or not draft, sign a vet or trade for a vet, and then draft another young guy. And actually,
Mike Williams sitting out there right now, that's not a bad fit.
If
you need a big body receiver.
If my first 2 rounds, because look, the guy that I wanted in the draft, and this reminds me of the guy that I wanted, ironically, in the 2020 draft when we drafted Kenny Pickett. I wanted Tyler Lindenbaum, who's now a Pro Bowler for the Baltimore Ravens. I wanted him so bad because I was like, we don't need to draft the quarterback right away after Ben retires. Like, let's build up a line. Let Mason start at the time, or whoever it was Mason and we Mr. Trubisky, right? Yeah, Mr. Trubisky. We signed Mr. Trubisky. Let them go. Let's build up the trenches. Let's do our best to build a foundation for whichever franchise quarterback we end up drafting in the future. We needed to admit at that time, and it's hard to do it in hindsight, it's 2020, but it's hard to admit in the time that you might not have the team to compete for anything more than second or third in your division and a wild card spot in the playoffs. We did not. We tried to go for broke, tried to draft a guy who should have been a third or fourth round draft pick in the first round. We reached. That's all it was. We reached, and we didn't have the OC.
He was sitting there. He was sitting there with his little baby hands, his little tiny hands, looking up at you like, "Take me," and you reach. Boy, did you reach!
A lot of that is the Dan Marino hangover that Pittsburgh has been feeling for the last.
It was a bad quarterback class though too. That was one of the worst quarterback classes of recent history.
Well, look at the year before. Look at the year. Look where Mac Jones, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, all those guys are at right now.
I get it. Yeah. Like they ended up bad. A lot of that is developmental stuff, and Mac Jones is the one that was reached for in that draft. They just built him up because of what Alabama did around him and the monster roster that Alabama had around him. So he's very much similar to Kenny Pickett in that regard, but they all still accomplished stuff in college. I mean, Trey Lance, not so much, but you were going to Kyle Shanahan, where Kyle Shanahan could go to the bathroom and have a quarterback that's coming out to win him 8 games and get the ball to Deebo Samuel. By the way, Jimmy G's available. Yes, that was what I was just about to say.
I don't want the Italian stallion or whatever they call him right now.
Oh, he's Greek, man.
Oh, Greek? Oh, dang, I'm way off.
He's
my bad.
Not Rocky Balboa.
My bad.
You want to talk about somebody being hurt?
Dude, he's just too good looking.
That is Uncle Jesse from Full House.
He's way too good looking to be in Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah. He wouldn't do well in Pittsburgh.
He wouldn't do well. He's too can't mess up that pretty hair, man. And so I don't know if he can get down grimy like we us blue collar folks like to do. But no, like it's amazing, man. Like I'm excited and I'm happy.
You didn't even pick anybody up. You're just excited that somebody got cut.
I'm excited that something of significance happened. The ground is different now. Like, this is a different type of Steelers team, a different type of Steelers front office that we are trying to become more with the times. We are trying to adapt. And I mean, we need to do this. It's funny that you say that and we sign one of the oldest quarterback in the league, but still, like, it's still a sign that we're trying to.
You need him to play. You need him to play average to above average for 2 years, though. That's it.
But he will. I have no doubt that he can. That's the thing. Like, if we set our expectations,
if he does on this roster what he did on Denver, they'll be fine.
Yeah. You got to set your expectations properly for Russell Wilson. And I mentioned this the other day. Russ now knows who he is. When he left Seattle, he thought he could be a Tom Brady, a Peyton Manning, and go to a franchise and be the difference maker. He's not that guy. He learned that the hard way the last 2 years in Denver. He understands now that his best years, he needs help. And when he has help, it brings the best out of him. And so a running game like we have, like every quarterback needs, but we actually have it in Najee and Warren, and we showcased it last year, even with the subpar offensive line. Our defense, who was worn to a nub last year from really piss poor quarterback play the whole year, going out, like having the highest percentage of 3-and-outs in the whole league last year, the last 2 years.
It was like the Green Mile. They was like, I'm tired, boss.
They are tired. Dude, and people don't I don't know if people really take into account. You see the 3-and-outs and you see the defense giving up points, but you understand, like, by week 10 or week 12, when that defense is on the field for 35, 40 minutes every single week, and you're you're a veteran-laden team. Like you have TJ Watt, who's been in the league for 8-9 years.
Your legs are gone. You
got Cam Hayward. Like your best players are getting up there in age, and they can only do so much when the offense isn't doing their part. And so, because go ahead. I can keep on going.
I'm trying to. You need to refresh yourself.
Yeah.
While you do that, I'm gonna hit my guy Nelson Morales right there. You can check out my Twitter,
Nelson.
My Twitter. Nelson, look at my Twitter from about a half hour ago. It's funny that he says this because I just put this on Twitter. I said Kenny Pickett and Kyle McCord, and I got the Spider-Man gif of them pointing at each other. So me and Nelson are on the same page. Both of them running away from the competition, not wanting to be great. Go be great. Go be great.
Yeah.
That's what my guy said in, what was it, Friday Night Lights? Be great.
Mm-hmm. I never watched that. That's
Mike Winchell.
I never watched Friday Night Lights, man. I don't know. I just can't.
How can you win if you don't let Booby spin?
Oh, see, I love quotables and I hate when I'm left out of them. So don't do that.
That's why I'm doing it.
No, that's horrible. That is such bullshit that you would do that. Hit me with a quote after I told you I did not know the damn show or movie.
You got homework.
Movie or the show. I got homework.
They have both. So to be fair, I've never watched the show. I've never watched the Friday Night Lights show. It's one of those that I had queued up. I wanted to watch. And then I looked and there's 11 damn seasons. And I'm like, I don't got the time in my life to allocate towards this right now. That's going to be something when I'm retired, I go back and do. I got kids running around. I got I need 40 hours in a day that to get everything done I want to do. And we got Kenny Pickett getting cut practically. I mean, for all intents and purposes, he was cut. Get rid of your first round draft pick after 2 years. He was cut.
He was. And it's not the first time the Pittsburgh Steelers have done this. But let me ask you this. For those who are tuning in to Pod Me Up for the first time, this is our first live show. Thank you for tuning in. Tune in for more episodes. We're going to drop 2 episodes a week every Tuesday and Thursday moving forward. Hopefully.
Watch the replay. And you would have learned about this on Tuesday when we told you it was coming.
The dynamic that me and my guy Rich have is that obviously my loyalties lie in Pittsburgh. This man right here, good friend of mine, but we go to battle because he is a Cleveland Browns fan and an Ohio State fan. I know a lot of Ohio State Steeler fans exist. So that's not the issue. It's your Browns fandom that makes our dynamic so unique because you're very critical of your team, more critical than any other Browns, more realistic than any other Browns fan. What does this mean? Do you think or how do you think Cleveland Browns? We saw your guy. You retweeted that. Who's our man? Ken.
Oh, Ken Carmen on 92.3 Cleveland.
You retweeted his joy that we are.
He's all of us
creating our first round. Yeah, he's all of us. How do you think the Browns fandom is taking this right now? Are you guys?
Look at me. I'm happy to share this with you. That's what I'm telling you. We've been here for 25 years. This is my life. This is what I've been living. Trying to share a little insight with you. This is what happens. Hopefully, well, not for me, but for your sake, because I care about you and I want good things for you during the football season, other than when our teams are playing each other. Hopefully it's not a sign of things to come, but yes, we've been down this road. Johnny Manziel, you get a quarterback you think is going to have a little success and they suck. Derek Anderson, Brady Quinn, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. So we've seen it before. And to see, I'll say this about the Steelers and the Steelers organization. In all of pro sports, they are the model franchise of stability. You guys don't fire coordinators midseason. You've had 3 coaches since the Model T was invented. You don't do stuff like this.
Yeah, this is true.
Now, part of it is a sign of the times because, and while it tickles me and I laugh because I said when he was drafted, Kenny was a bad idea, but
you said it, and I said it too. I told you I wanted Tyler Linderbaum. I told you.
You did.
I told everybody.
You absolutely did. But
yeah,
it's a sign of the times because of and we talked about this ad nauseum this week with Kirk Cousins deal, what quarterbacks are getting paid. You have to rip the Band-Aid quick now. Either he's the guy or he's not. You don't have 7 years to figure out, is this guy going to be a good starting quarterback? The Jordan Love thing is an anomaly. That's not going to happen in the NFL anymore. You have to figure out about quarterbacks while they're cheap. And then if they're not the guy and you identify they're not the guy, this is the best thing for you to do. Cut bait, get out of the situation and go and find a bridge guy to get you over to the next one. You thought it was going to be Trubisky.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, I think if we had drafted how I wanted us to draft Cobras last year, if we had taken Tyler Linderbaum, I think we would have saw a completely different Trubisky. Mind you, he would have still been under the tutelage of Canada.
I was going to say, if you guys implemented an offense that was built, like set players up to succeed, Trubisky probably would have been different. Mm-hmm. He wasn't going to be Ben. He wasn't going to be a great quarterback, but he would have been what you're trying to get out of Russell Wilson now.
Right. Right. Yeah. And so, like, he would have been the bridge quarterback, and I would have been okay with that but now we're in such a good situation, much better than where we were this time last year. And granted, last year, Kenny Pickett had an amazing preseason, and now I think everybody knows preseason is a farce, an absolute farce. You can't judge anything at all. You have teams that go 0-4 in the preseason that go on to win the Super Bowl. Like, you can't judge a damn thing by the preseason at all. And unfortunately for Kenny, that might be his one shining moment. You know, we're on the verge of March Madness. And so it feels appropriate to use that phrase. That 2023's preseason might be Kenny Pickett's one shining moment, because I don't know if he'll get the opportunity to do anything of significance in Philadelphia to prove anybody that was a KP fan in Pittsburgh right.
No, I think for the Eagles, when you make the trade for Kenny Pickett, you look at a guy that can move a little bit. And if Jalen Hurts, goes down in some way, shape, or form, you've got Saquon Barkley, a decent offensive line, and weapons outside where you just do this little almost college offense, run bubble screens, quick stuff, get the ball into their A.J. Brown's hands. And you're not going to ever ask him to do too much, but you still don't want to see him on the field for I'll say this. The Eagles right now with Jalen Hurts, Super Bowl aspirations. Jalen Hurts gets hurt in week 5 or 10 or whatever, and Kenny Pickett is the guy you're stuck with the rest of your year. You're looking at going out in the first round again of the playoffs. So again, and this isn't meant to just bash on Kenny Pickett, but it's reality.
No, I don't want to bash on him, man, because the kid is in a precarious situation, man, and he's a grown man, but he's still okay.
But he could have handled it worse from all the reports.
From all the reports. So I want to always take that with a grain of salt. Like, I don't know.
Yes.
Because you're never allowed to release your sources. And with the advent of fake news over the last few years, and everybody trying to be the first one to report something, you don't know how credible stories are until you see the evidence later on down the line. And by all accounts, yes, it sounds like Kenny was a petulant child that did not realize how bad he played. Like, he deserved more than he earned. And mind you, if we really look at Kenny's history as a quarterback, he had one good year at Pittsburgh, right? One good year at the University of Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And then he came into the league. He had to play under Canada, and he had some fantastic fourth quarter comebacks his rookie year, and had a fantastic preseason the next year. And then started out the year going against the eventual Super Bowl runner-up in San Francisco. And from then on, after that, it was downhill for him in his career. That was the beginning of the end, essentially. He has a lot of injury issues. He's been concussed twice. He had to have tightrope surgery last year for an ankle. You don't have that type of surgery for an ankle sprain unless it's something that has happened recurringly. I don't know if that's a word, recurringly. It recurred repeatedly. I could have used a simple word, but I'm a Northwestern guy, so I gotta,
Speaking of Northwestern, what's going on there? I never turned the TV on when I came down to the studio, aka my basement.
We're down 5 with 10:30 left. So
man, I hurt for you. I hurt, man. So I was doing some work. I look up, 23 points in the first. These dudes didn't score but 6 points in the last 10 minutes of the first half.
We're keeping the faith, man. I got my positive pants on for Northwestern too. Okay,
I'm a Northwestern fan right now until this game is over, and then again, I'm doing this for you. I'm here for you. But I see a lot of people probably didn't hear us earlier when we started this because we're still getting a lot of the Fields questions. So I'll reiterate it again. This isn't a knock on Justin Fields either. I like Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields, in a lot of ways, suffered the same casualty as Kenny Pickett when it comes to
and Mitchell Trubisky earlier in Chicago.
With malpractice from offensive coaches, essentially. But I don't think the situation is right now. If you traded for Justin Fields to come in to play right away, so you have a year of him auditioning to see, okay, pick up the 5th-year option, give him the long-term deal, yada, 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 that's a whole different scenario. But you bring Justin Fields in with all intents and purposes to sit for a year behind Russ Wilson and then pick up his 5th-year option. What are you going to do? Throw him in without ever seeing when he's on the field and move on from Russell Wilson? It just doesn't. It doesn't jive and make sense. I'm not saying it would be the craziest thing to happen. I'm not saying it would be a bad idea. I just don't think that the circumstances align now.
That's right. Zachary Peters sitting on the head. Like, that's $20 million we got to commit to him for the next year, and we just got cap space. The Steelers just got cap space. We just got over Ben's contract and the dead money that came with that. And now, we're in a space right now where we can actually load up and plan and do well for the future, building up the foundations. Why would we commit $20 million next year, $20+ million next year, to a quarterback that's sitting this year, and that it's not a known commodity? It's not a known commodity at all.
Well, and in your foundation, you want the foundation to be Najee, right? Like you want to be a run first, play defense, be tough again football team. You got to start paying him soon. Like, that's right around the corner as well. That deal.
I'm not as concerned about, but yeah, you're right. Like, Najee is our leader. Najee is the leader of the offense. There's no bones about it. He has the type of mentality, the type of intestinal fortitude, and the way that he plays the ball inspires the other people on the offensive line. Like, he is Pittsburgh Steelers through and through, and he keeps it real. I love a good Najee Harris interview because he wears his heart on his sleeve. He is the epitome of what a Steeler, especially a running back, should be in Pittsburgh. And so, yes, I would not mind at all if the cornerstones of our offense were Najee, Jaylen Warren, and George Pickens, and then sprinkle in some Pat Freiermuth in there. And our quarterback, Russell Wilson, needs to know this too. He's coming in to help them be who they should be for our offense. He's not coming in to be the guy. He's coming in to help make their jobs easier. And so, yeah, we're in a good spot, man. We're in a good spot.
So from here going forward, let's put a bow on this. You need another wide receiver. Still need to shore up that offensive line. We
need a center. We need a center and another tackle. Yes.
Depth on defense because you get a little long in the tooth back there.
My ideal draft right now is if we take JPJ. You can never have enough JPJs on the team. We saw what Joey Porter Jr. did last year in the secondary. He's going to be a beast. I want Powers Jackson, the center from Oregon, at number 20. And then maybe take a Keon Coleman at wide receiver from Florida State in the second. But if that does not happen, if we take a Brian Thomas Jr. from LSU, I would be happy with that. And we take Frazier from West Virginia or SVP from Georgia, the center from Georgia, in the second round or third round, I would be happy with that too. So some combination of center, wide receiver in the first 2 rounds. I don't want to pay big money to a Mike Williams that's in free agency right now, who's oft injured. Or I could see
he would be similar as Russ, though, wouldn't he? He would be similar as Russell Wilson because he's getting his money still from the Chargers for this year. So he could do a lower deal, couldn't he?
Yeah, he could do a lower deal. Oh, yeah. No Chick-fil-A sauce. Oh, Chick-fil-A sauce is the best. I'm looking at the comment from no Chick-fil-A sauce. I know. Oh.
That's
a thing.
Yeah.
But
Hey,
Spencer Rattler,
they've got this they've got some kind of sauce. It's delicious. What's it called? Starts with a P.
oh,
Persian
Polynesian.
something. Polynesian,
sauce.
yes. That
That's
stuff is
awesome.
good.
But the Chick-fil-A
good.
sauce is amazing too. But Spencer Rattler in the 3rd or 4th round, I wouldn't mind taking a flyer. I mentioned that earlier in the podcast. But I can see as Michael Gallup just got released. So I would not mind him as a second receiver.
Big body possession guy.
Yeah. Because I think Russ Wilson does well with big body possession guys. Even and he doesn't do great with timing routes.
Well, he doesn't do well throwing over the middle of the field. And that's
we saw what he has to do when he throws a slant. Like we saw what happened when he had to throw a slant in the goal line. So
I just watched. That was the episode they just had on the Dynasty New England Patriots thing on Apple TV. It was literally that Super Bowl matchup where he steps in front of the slant to win the Super Bowl. It's like, oh
yeah, that was such a
Brady's deflated balls.
Pause. Anyway, they seem to be inflated awfully these days. But
we got a lot to cover as the draft's coming forward. We'll do this again. We might Justin Jefferson might be traded to the Bengals tomorrow. Who knows?
Or to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah,
to the Pittsburgh Steelers. It might happen.
Now you're dreaming again.
You would not like that. No, it's not a dream. It's not a dream. It can happen. It's just as likely as you. But
is me getting? Yeah, it is just as likely as me getting traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Touche. All right,
I need cheaper, to go. Though. I'll go out there and be the backup quarterback this year. I'll hold a clipboard.
You were such a cheap date. I already knew that. So we're good. All right, I need to go refill my drink. We'll do this again.
Yeah, I'm about dry, so we'll do it again.
All right.